What are you doing?
I was doing all that bass drum, the beat that was going along with it. I got kind of wound up there for a second, so I just
Kind of
away I went.
catchy. Kind of
Yeah,
catchy. Get you
kind of,
ready.
maybe a little bit. What's going on, everybody?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm telling you what, I'm kind of mad about today.
Uh-oh. Now you
Weatherman
scared
kept
me.
saying, "Oh, it's going to rain today. It's going to rain today." Hadn't seen a drop. It's been
Really?
miserable all day. And I'm like, "What?" I mean, the time that you say it's going to rain and I'm kind of happy about it and it doesn't rain.
Yeah, because it's cooling, gonna cool it all off, isn't it?
Right. And
Yeah,
this June has been enough already.
yeah, yeah. It's not a fun thing here either. I mean, because we've had the humidity and everything, but they're saying, oh well, we might get a little bit of a shower this morning and look up and it's cloudy and stuff. I'm like nothing, but it didn't get as
Nothing.
hot as normal. I mean, last few days been in the mid 90s with a heat index of 104. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, a little cooler, got a breeze. It's doing pretty good. I could actually work out in this stuff, not a big deal. And then I get in my car and I drive a little bit and my AC stops working. And then
Oh
it turns back
no.
and then it comes back on again and then it stops working again. I'm like, okay, this is going to my AC has started. If you run it for a while, it'll be okay for a second. But the minute you go to slow down at a light or in traffic, it starts going down. Nothing else overheats. It just stops kind of blowing. It blows regular, but it doesn't blow cold. I'm like, okay, well, I figured out, okay, slowing down, turn off the AC. Wait till I start building back up speed, turn back on the AC. I'm like resetting it every time. I'm like, okay, I can play with this.
That is horrible
it's not
news.
it's not fun for an hour and a half drive though.
No, that's horrible. That's terrible.
Mm. It, it
And
is
then
yeah, yeah.
we got to work this morning and only half of the AC units were working. So they
Oh
were
no.
working in one part of the building that we weren't in.
No.
So yeah. Yeah, it has been horrible. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with this June, but these temps are like, we're getting into like July, mid July, late July weather.
Yeah, I mean, it's already like I said. We usually see we haven't actually reached 100. The one time they actually called for 100 was in May, and we didn't get to about 95 ish or so because we set a record for that day. And I'm like, okay, that's maybe this is going to be sign for good. No, 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 no. It's in the 90s, but we got 9,000% humidity. So yeah, walk outside and you're just sticky the minute you walk out the door.
Yeah, I know. I know. And it's just, the weather has just been crazy everywhere. So I'm just, everybody just stay safe out there.
Yeah,
Stay
definitely
safe,
100%.
Yeah, because I told you my AC unit went out in the main part of the house and
Yeah,
then got that fixed and then turned around and then it went down again. I was like, are you kidding me?
give them a
Are
call.
you
Hey,
kidding
y'all missed something.
me? Right? And it was something as simple as a little fuse the second time. I was like,
Oh, was it the
oh
capacitor?
no, it was the thermostat because it's
Oh,
hardwired in. It has a little
yep,
fuse,
little fuse
and the
in it, and
fuse
it
burnt
blew.
out. And I'm sitting there going, I looked at everything but the fuse. I was like, okay, fine.
See, and the places I've worked, obviously, I've done facilities maintenance a lot, so I can repair just about everything AC related, as long as I don't have to try and fill it. I can do the capacitors, I can do the blower motors, I could do the actual compressor motor or blower or fans, but I can't change the compressor and I can't change the inner unit type thing. I'm just enough to be dangerous.
Just enough. Yeah. Throw in a little electrical and you're
But now I,
downright dangerous.
yeah, well, and I've like I tell people in my housing area here, I put it out on our little Facebook group. People say, "Oh, my AC did this, my AC did that." I said, "Did you check your capacitor?" That's the first thing I ever ask them. Did you check your capacitor? Huh? I said, "I'll be over there in a minute," and I'll go over and I'll look at it. Say, "You need to go get this capacitor." If I don't have one with me, because I keep spare capacitors here like crazy, so I'm like the Tommy Knockers book with all the batteries. I got capacitors, so
Right, right.
and so, it's a $20 part at most of the time, and these people are charging them $150 just to come out and replace a freaking capacitor. And I'm like, No, I'll try and help out where I can.
Right, exactly. Well, Donnie's not with us yet.
Nope.
Donnie is actually cooking up something special for us tonight. We're kind of
Kind of scared.
scared.
We're a
Yeah,
lot scared, actually.
yeah, we're really scared about that.
And I hope
I
he's
don't even
listening. Hope
know.
he's listening. Because if he
Yeah,
is, if it ain't funny, he's never going to live it down.
right. We will just. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll do something.
But
We'll do
yeah,
something.
hey,
But
guess what I did though? I guess what I
what
did.
did you?
You won't even have to say nothing about paying bills or nothing because I uploaded the actual bit that Doug did. So
Oh, okay.
without further ado, we're gonna pay bills right now.
Crossing
Let's
Realms
pay.
Conference is coming this September 19th and 20th to the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Tickets to this landmark event are on sale right now at Eventbrite. The powerful speaker lineup will cover topics from Bigfoot, UFOs, and aliens, so you will not want to miss attending this amazing 2-day inaugural event. Again, that's the Crossing Realms Conference, this September 19th and 20th at the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Please mark your calendar and get your tickets before they vanish. Space is limited.
That's
There it
very, very
is.
cool. I really thought it was a cool video that he did.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to send that to me. I don't even have it.
I had Rob send it to me, and I had to download it because it was on a link or whatever. But I'll get it squared away. I'll get it to you, and that way you can get it too. Because I was blown away by it when he shared it. I was like, you got to be kidding me! That's actually a real good promo. A real good
It
promo.
is. It is very
So,
good. Very good.
and I'm going to take the audio, and that's going to be going out on the podcast side as an ad. So,
Ta ta ta. There you go.
I am. Look at me. I'm all by myself. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Tonight's topic, it's always been a hot topic, actually, if you want to know
Yeah.
the truth. And Bigfoot and
Yep.
Dogman, are they physical or supernatural? I mean,
Yep.
I've heard so many different stories where it could lean either way.
Yeah.
There's nothing that is pushing me one way or the other. All I can do is go based on my experience, my encounter,
Yeah.
and go with that. But there are so many people, they all can't be wrong. They can't.
Well, and I agree with you to a certain extent, but I'm that old scientist side. I like things to be physical. Do I love the paranormal? You dang right I do.
Yes.
But I'm firmly in the flesh and blood realm on this, obviously, of the Bigfoot. We're not even going to talk about Dogman. I'll leave that alone for somebody else to talk about. But on the Bigfoot side, that's what I'm saying. And we even talked about it on Truth or Tinfoil when people were talking about, oh, it cloaked, it did this or it did that. I don't know that it cloaked so much as it used its natural camouflage ability.
Right.
So,
well, that's what I always thought. I mean, they're really wearing a ghillie suit.
Yeah,
their natural ghillie suit. That's what they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it does. I mean, they could sit in, a pile of dead wood, and I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd probably walk up on it and not even realize it's sitting there.
Well, and of course, I'm sitting at work today. I've got nothing going on. I throw on, I think it was Mystery Man in 100 most terrifying or unusual Bigfoot sightings or whatever the case might be. And he's just kind of going through them and stuff. And there's just one that this guy is literally filming this thing. I think it was a setup, but he's filming it, but he's supposedly further away and he can't really see it other than through his video camera. And he's zoomed in on it and stuff. And you can see it move a little bit, you see it move, and it gets up to move away. And you could tell looking at it, it goes about 3 foot and just completely freezes. When it completely freezes, you completely lose every bit of sight of it because there's no movement. It's blended in with his background. And I'm sitting there, that is a perfect example of what we were talking about for tonight. I'm like, he knew where it needed to go, where he was, where it needed to go, so it was not going to be seen anymore.
Yeah. I do have to tell you something. I haven't told anybody this because it just happened. It was actually 2 mornings ago. And I'm in the car and it's very early in the morning. And of course it's dark outside.
Yeah.
So, and it was very foggy. So I'm I get going and I'm going down the road and I slow down because I hit a foggy patch. And then you know how it goes when you're on flat land, then you get in some trees and then it clears up.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
For some unknown reason, I'm going to say this, for some unknown reason, there was animals all over the road. I mean, I saw skunks and rabbits and stray cats and, you know,
And they were not in that fog, were they?
no, they were not in the fog. They were in the middle of the road in the clearings, you know. So I got to a clearing and I, you know, got real close to, it was a rabbit that came in it, you know, and I hit my brakes a little bit because I wanted to make sure I didn't hit it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you know, I look out, you know, my rear view mirror because I want to make sure I didn't hit it because I'd feel bad for hitting a bunny.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's something about hitting a bunny. You just
Any
don't
of
want
the
to do it.
animals, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't want to hit them. So, you know, and when I did that and I hit the brake lights, I saw something black pass behind my car.
Oh.
Now it blacked out the whole length of. Now I drive an SUV, so
Yep.
it's the back hatch, and it just like blacked it out.
And moved from left to right or whichever way, huh?
It moved from the passenger side to the driver's side, and like it went across the road. Now it's only a 2-lane road, so it didn't take much to get over that, you know. And they come down out of these deep ditches that are down there. The ditches are probably like 4 foot deep or so.
Yeah,
I mean,
gotcha,
I
gotcha.
consider them pretty deep. I
So
mean,
in
you
other words,
go
it's a
down in
good
those in your
old-fashioned country
car.
road.
Yeah. You go down those in your car, you're not getting out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just not getting out.
All the record.
Right. So I saw that, and I have no idea what it was.
Yeah. That's,
You know,
yeah.
because I had,
That's
like I
wild.
said, I had slowed down, put on my brake lights, and I could see it as it passed by the back of my window.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no idea. And I mean, because I seen the brake lights on it.
Yeah.
So to me, it seems solid.
Well, yeah, if you got brake lights reflecting off of it, you would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it moved way too fast for a person.
But could it have been a deer or something like that, or was it?
You know what? It's so flat out here at points, and where I was at, it did not look like a deer at all.
And that's the thing. You know the look of a deer, honestly. If it looked like something else.
Absolutely do.
Yeah.
Absolutely do. And when I had my brake lights on, I would have seen it for sure.
Yeah, you should have seen the whitetail or something.
Right.
Right. White belly or something along the line. So
yeah. So I'm like, okie dokie.
Now, I had one like that in Aiken, South Carolina, when we were doing some training, doing some special training between you got Aiken and Edgefield, South Carolina. Okay. And I would drive the road from where we were staying in Aiken to where we're going in Edgefield to the training center and stuff. And we had the rental minivan and everything. And from the side, I mean, we get done late and we're coming back, and I see from the side, you see this thing whoosh in front, and I'm doing 50, 55 miles an hour down this road. And I see something I was like, what the heck was that? And I didn't think nothing about it. Of course, I'm still trucking along, and all of a sudden I look up, and in the middle of the road is a hoot owl.
Oh my gosh.
And it come across here, caught me off guard, gets out there, and it had stopped and killed something in the middle of the road. And it turned and it raised its wings like that right there and looked me square in the eye. And I'm like, that's something you never forget. If an owl ever locks eyes with you, you just never forget it. Well, we weren't locked for very long because at 55 miles an hour, I was not going to be able to stop, unfortunately. And the guys behind us said, all we saw were feathers going everywhere. I said, yeah, I tried to stop. I couldn't do it.
Right. Well, I got a question. It says, Brandy, how far away was it from your car? It was close.
Yes. And you'd already slowed down for the animals. So
I slowed down. I was doing probably about 30, 35.
Yeah.
I mean, and it passed quickly.
Yeah. It zoomed. Yeah.
And I didn't even, I mean, that's not the first time something weird has happened when I've been driving down this road.
Okay.
But I mean, that was just weird because of the sheer size of it. Like I said, it blacked out my whole entire hatchback window. So
yeah,
I found it very confusing. because that brings me back to this Bigfoot Dogman thing that we're talking about. Now, I thought, I thought I lived a little bit farther from the Mark Twain National Forest. But apparently, when I looked at the map, it's 10 miles. So
that's just a hop, skip, and jump there.
Yes, as a crow flies, it's 10 miles.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's a lot closer than what I thought, and we've been having encounters over here with Dogman, Bigfoot, of course, Piedmont, Missouri has now been named the the alien capital of Missouri.
Yeah. I've heard that one because y'all got a lot. Well, Piedmont has a lot of the, I hate saying UAP. I really hate saying UAP. They have a lot of UAP experts, quote unquote, in there now.
Yes. Now they do. Yes.
They're not quite to Roswell, but they're trying. Okay.
Yeah. There is documentaries out there on YouTube if anybody wants to watch them. I can't tell you exactly what they are right now, but they are on Piedmont, Missouri. And that's Piedmont. And you can watch those.
Yeah, I about to say, because wasn't there an abduction story from Piedmont as well?
Oh, yeah.
I thought so. I thought I remember one about an abduction story from there.
We've also had, hunters that have mysteriously passed away out in the surrounding counties and things like that.
Yeah.
That we have no idea where they went.
Yeah.
We have some that we just found there, and there's nothing that seems to be wrong with them.
Yeah, golly.
I know.
Oh, and werewolf, I think when she means talking about it blocking the entire back window, I think she meant just from the base to the top of it and then moving across.
From what I can see, yes. I don't know exactly how tall this thing was because, like I said, I could only see out the back hatch window. And I was looking at it through my rearview mirror, and it was just that quick. It was like just gone.
Like something run across it, right?
Because I had my brake lights on because I had slowed down for the animals, and I saw it go right across it, and it seemed very solid.
Yeah.
But that doesn't say much. With Randy and I being into the paranormal also, that doesn't say much.
No. But, those are the things that make you go, wait a second here. Maybe I need to come back here another day. When I got time to play here, I might be able to do something. Because honestly, it's like I always equated it to playing golf. You play like crap for 17 and a half holes, and then you hit a perfect drive, a perfect second shot, and a beautiful putt and birdie the 18th, and that's the hole that brings you back the next time.
Right. You're like, well, I can do it once, I can do it again.
Yeah, or I can go back and see maybe did it work like this? What did it do?
And there has been many times where I've driven down this road and there's coyotes, there's wild dogs, there's deer, there's you name it, it's out here. If it's in Missouri, it's out here.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee you, it's out here. Because it's near a river, there is a water source. It's farmland, so we're growing crops now. So there's definitely a food source, and it just drives me crazy when I can't see these things, and really get a good look and stop and that's why when we talk about these pictures and everything, how do we know if Bigfoot is on the physical plane or is it on the supernatural plane? We don't know
exactly. Yeah. That's it's so hard because, like I said, it's hard for me to bite off into the non-physical plane bit of it because of my science background, because of y'all got to understand, really, when I went to college, my first iteration of college, I double majored in physics and chemistry. I was going to become Sheldon Cooper at one time. Okay. So literally, I like the idea of string theory. I like the idea of parallel universes and stuff like that, but there's still matter that has to go between the two, so it's still flesh and blood to me, but is there another aspect to it that goes with it? You know what I mean?
Well, everybody speaks of like portals and things like that that they are finding when they're out looking for
Yeah.
these creatures.
Yep.
That makes me wonder if they aren't some part supernatural, being able to cross through and cross back.
Sorry, I just saw the comment from Leonard out there. Randy, that's absolute truth about golf. It's called golf because all the other 4-letter words are taken.
I believe it. I believe it.
That's hey, I used to say I never even called it that because I call it whack F word a lot. Is because
Well, there you go.
Whack and yell F. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Why would anybody play that type of game if they?
Because it's enjoying and it's relaxing. Dang it.
It's relaxing.
Anyway, so, but yeah, like you're saying, I mean, and if string theory is real, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all theoretical. Everything's theoretical. But if string theory and quantum physics are a thing, it's very possible there are spots where the veil is thin, as for lack of a better term, because the thinning of the veil. Well, okay, yeah, there is spots where it could really be thin between the membrane between them.
Yeah, and I've got to say, yeah. I mean, I believe in that. I know that they're like we have like time rips or things like that. I believe that these things do happen. I mean, we've talked about a glitch in the matrix.
Yep.
And that's coming from somewhere. Of course, that's a whole different show, a whole different
oh yeah.
That's a whole different show, and that comes from the 1988 anomaly theory, which is a whole different show. But I feel that they could be maybe a little of both.
Well, yeah. That's kind of my feeling. If we're going to talk about them like using portals and stuff, they have figured out how to pass through that membrane between alternate realities. That maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Think about, did anybody ever watch the show Sliders, where the guy,
yes,
you remember how he used to go between the realities, and because he screwed up something, they get lost. Okay. But
right.
Anyway, maybe they have figured out some way through infrasound or something that they emit themselves, because everybody knows we always have camera problems, we have electronic problems, we have every kind of problem. Just like if we were paranormal investigating, we have these glitches and these problems, battery problems and stuff, when supposedly one of them is an ear. Okay. That means they must, if that's the case, they should be able to create maybe this sonic or electrical interference to cross between those planes.
That makes sense to me. I mean, Krista was telling me about a time they were at the Land Between the Lakes, and her and another person both had audio equipment. So they had set up the audio equipment in the same area, not close to one another, but in the same area. And the next day, Krista went to go back and check her audio, and the file wasn't corrupted. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, it was gone, right?
It was gone. It was absolutely gone. So she asked this other person, hey, let's check your audio because mine's messed up. I can't get mine to play with it. So she played hers, and guess what? It was gone.
Gone. Just gone. Not distorted, not corrupted, gone.
Yeah, it was absolutely gone. So I couldn't figure out how that could possibly happen, except for what you're saying about the I don't know what you call it, coming off of these places.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't have a word for it, really. We really don't have a word for it. I mean, you could watch the old shows like Eureka, Sliders, and they talk about P brain waves and Higgs boson particles and stuff like that. You can talk about those all day long, but they really mean nothing because they haven't been proven. None of them they're all literally I think Higgs boson has been proven through the accelerator in CERN, but it's still such a small amount. We don't know what the heck we're doing with it in the first place. So we don't have true names for them. So for what we're talking about. So
Gary, I
want to know where his daggum tardy slip is.
Right. Gary said that he had over 1,000 black picks at Brown Springs.
Yeah.
I get it
Yeah.
because I had a trail cam out, and I had 1,000 pics of nothing.
Yeah, I had 3 trail cams out when me and Tex and Jason were up there. I think it was the second time I was up there. May have been the first, but I think it was the second. And at the time, me and Jason thought we saw something out while we were sleeping up in our cars and stuff. Tex was down at the other area. He heard something. We go through and stuff. The 2 cameras that are pointed away from where they heard it are fine, 100% good. The one pointed into the woods where we heard and thought we saw this stuff. At the exact moment, the file is completely corrupted. I couldn't rebuild it. I couldn't come back. I got all the way to within like a 5-second span there. Nothing.
Right.
Just corruption, static BS. It was done. Like it'd gotten fried. But it was just for those 5-10 seconds. And
That's
it just so
weird.
happened to coincide with what we were experiencing that night.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. That movie, what is it called? Contact with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
And she went through that warp thing, and they said that she had nothing, that they didn't hear anything, but then they go back and tell her later that she had like 18 hours of
nothing.
Yeah, static. Yep. I'm like, excuse me. It took her 10 seconds to go from the top to the bottom, but yet she had 18 hours of static recorded.
Yeah.
There's something.
And remember, as she fell through, she thought she was in another reality.
Yes, she did.
So, yeah, I mean, that was it's kind of cool. Just to think that something can naturally emit something like that, maybe to create that change. So they would have kind of masters of their own domain / their own time frame and their own, dimension, shall we say?
Right.
I hate to say it like that because it sounds weird, but yeah, they would be the masters of the dimensions that they would travel to.
Right. So now that Donnie's here, let's talk about Dogman.
All right.
Do you think Dogman is physical or supernatural?
Supernatural, for sure. Physically, he wouldn't make sense because if you look at it from a biological, evolutionary point of view, physiologically, it doesn't make sense. There's for something to be bipedal like that, a lot of things have to go right in terms of like the human body. There's nothing even close to that in the fossil record. There's no wolves or prehistoric ancient canids that are sort of approaching that. Like you would have to redo its entire bone structure, its hip structure. I think if it was purely physical, it would be. There has to be some kind of supernatural element to it for it to walk as naturally on bipedally, as they say.
Okay, so I have heard some stories about they think that these are bioengineered, should I say, or something close to it, where they are made by our government. Do you think that they could have played off of what I would have considered and Randy would have considered a werewolf, like the stories, the folklore and things like that, and actually made these things for who knows? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think it was possibly made through some mystical means, through some like occult or dark magic, or based off what I hear, like like the Native American dark lore, skinwalkers. I've heard pray tell of the Beast of Jevudun coming from like African voodoo, like something made, but not through scientific means, but more through magical or
mysticism type thing,
mysticism kind of thing.
Well,
that's my personal.
Look at Anubis. Anubis in the ancient Egypt, was essentially a dog man. So that had to. Well, I shouldn't say it. It could have come from somebody's opioid-induced mind. I mean, don't get me wrong, but normally a lot of those things have some sort of kernel of truth in fact.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what was the other name of the one? Was it Cerberus? Is the three-headed dog? Is that the right name?
Cerberus.
Thank you. I knew I was close. Um, I mean, what that reminds me more of a hellhound type thing versus, a dogman or whatever.
And hellhound stories always have a supernatural element to it.
Yeah,
right?
They
There's always
do.
some kind of mist or fog or misfortune, some kind of dark events, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, in most of the stories that I've heard about hellhounds, well, their fur is usually black and sometimes charred. That it has that charred look to it, and they have red glowing eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these reports that I'm hearing, they're seeing red eye shine.
Right.
So could we be mistaking like some of these misidentifying dogmen as maybe hellhounds, perhaps? Or
maybe
vice versa.
Well, people say that a lot of stories, not all of them, but a lot of stories, even Texas story, right? You have dogman being to go back and forth from quadrupedal to bipedal, and they kind of switch back and forth given the situation, right? What if a hellhound is just a dogman that's just decided to go on all fours that day?
Yeah. Very well could have been.
Exactly. And I think that, a lot of stories, especially the folklore stories that I hear about hellhounds, I mean, but the hellhounds are all over the world.
Right.
Dogman stories, not so much.
They're relatively new, quite frankly.
But are they? I mean, are they something that we called werewolves before? Not necessarily like the folklore.
As a modern cryptid, they're new, yeah. But in terms of folklore, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, maybe not in all the body changing from a man to a wolf, but what I'm saying is more or less it was derived from that or taken from that.
Well, yeah, much like the folklore of the vampires, they all kind of coincide together. I mean, they're a dark entity of some sort. Is the way they try to project them when they were telling the stories, I should say.
Oh, the whole vampire thing! I am so confused. I don't.
I have a strong working theory on vampires, actually, because I've done a few podcasts, like deep dives into vampires. Okay. Here's what I believe they are, because if you look at the way they're worded, right? You have like the strigoi originally. That's what they were called, right?
Yeah.
And then you have all these tales. Now, here's the thing about vampires. You notice how they always have like a multitude of abilities, right? There's the mist, turning into a bat, turning into a wolf, needing to be invited into your house, being undead, all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I think is going on is that in medieval Europe, going into the days of antiquity, you would have various paranormal events, right? Like we have paranormal supernatural events happening reported here.
Yes.
And they're all different, right? Some people experience orbs, some people experience mist, shadow people, whatever, right? Like dogman, whatever. Back then, people would just lump that all into one being. So then all this one being has all of these abilities, right? So poltergeist activity, vampire. Dogman activity, vampire. Cryptid, vampire.
Yeah.
Mothman type creature that can fly, vampire. It's just all of it is just vampire. They took all these a whole range of paranormal phenomena, lumped it into one thing.
Gotcha.
Right.
I can see that now.
Yeah.
Edward out there had a question here. I'm trying to figure out this one because he said he can't remember the exact name of but there were two distinct different types of werewolf type creatures in northern Celtic Scotland. The Irish mythos and the dogman are like, and I hadn't heard that one before. So that's what I was wondering about that. So
I don't know. We need to look that up and look into it. I mean, because we learn too from everybody, it's kind of like we come on here and we just chat about stuff, but you know what? The information that comes in teaches us a lot too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well,
I would have never thought to look that way because the Moors, Northern England, and the Moors. I mean, there was the rumor of the hellhounds on the moors at one time,
right?
Which is what the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, the Hound of the Baskervilles, was based on originally.
Right. Because the stories of the hellhounds have hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
But going back to vampires, this is what I want to tell you. I'm confused about. Some of them, okay, they can go into the light. Some of them can't because they'll be burned up. You know, some of them have, like you said, Donnie, certain abilities. Some of them don't. You know, it really just, it has me confused because I'm thinking maybe this is kind of like Bigfoot, that maybe that some Bigfoot have abilities and some don't.
Yeah, possibility.
Yeah.
And this makes me, you know, because I talk about the Fae sometimes, and I'm thinking, you know, because the Fae, we associate magical energies and things like that with the Fae. I mean, some of them are nice, some of them are not so nice. Most of them are not so nice. But maybe this is where Bigfoot is actually should be categorized. Is within the Fae.
That's a good thought. I hadn't ever thought about that before.
Well, Fae works the same way as vampires, right? All this different phenomena all being lumped into one creature.
Lumped into one.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, Dogman, we don't hear about these magical abilities with Dogman. We just
not really.
No. We don't hear that. I mean, we hear about their strength, their speed, just basically the way they look, the way they sound. I mean, that's what we hear most about. We don't hear about them doing magical things. We don't hear about orbs following them around.
No.
And they're very rare. It does happen, though. Alien activity, you know, will be surrounded in all of this. Now, whether it attracts them or doesn't attract them, I don't know. But you hear more of that type of thing with Bigfoot versus Dogman.
Right.
And Dogman, I think, I think they're evil. I'm sorry. I mean, if anybody disagrees with me out there, I think they're maybe.
Well, I sure as heck ain't gonna go try and shake hands with it. That's for dang sure.
Heck no. I think they're more on the demonic side. You know, because I think I've heard one in all the years I've been listening to Dogman stories, one that has been semi-okay. The rest of them have been terrifying.
Yeah, I've never heard any of them that were good in any way, shape, or form. But then again, I'm the same guy that never heard anything about LBL, and I lived there for over 8 years. And
you lived there? How are you still alive, Randy? How are you still breathing?
I was at Fort Campbell. I spent so many.
Oh, you're in the fort. Okay.
I was at so much time out in LBL, in the land between the lakes, and fishing and
alone.
I'll say hunting, but I was kind of hunting. Sometimes alone, sometimes with friends, just depending on what it was.
Still breathing?
Not once did I ever even feel a presence out there, other than, you know, oh, there's a deer over there. Hey, I hear a coyote, or whatever the case might be. Never once, you know, did I ever feel uneasy in that area. So
I don't feel uneasy in it either until I start getting back into it.
Yeah. Further back in, right?
Yeah. Once you start getting down them back roads and things that lead to everywhere but nowhere.
Yeah.
That's when everything starts to really get weird.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I've hiked literally the entire length, almost from Fort Campbell past Jackson, Tennessee, you know, up north of Jackson, Tennessee, in that area, up around the Kentucky border. You know, I've hiked almost the entire length of Kentucky Lake, you know. So I'm like, I never felt anything bad. Never.
Gary's like, never felt uneasy at the LBL.
I haven't either, except there's been a few times. Like I said, there's been a few times.
Well, yeah,
that we've been out hiking. Well, we've been out hiking in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Well, in the
creep factor.
Well, you know, you get up there and then you start hearing things that are just not natural or native. You know what I mean? They're just not normal sounds. I mean, you are hearing stuff like that. But there are places out there that can get real creepy at night.
You feel like it's all coming in on you too, doesn't it? I've been down a couple of those roads, but I just, you know, chalked it up, kept on rolling through. But the picture you showed me, and then the little bit of video I think you showed me a little bit, where y'all caught all those orbs and stuff in that one area. And I was like, and I thought about it, because I'm not an orb guy. You know, I'm not an orb guy. And I'm like, I still can't explain why those are there. When you showed it, I can't explain them at all. Because you said there were no fireflies around, really.
Nope.
So I'm like, we've got luminescence coming off these things. What the heck is this?
Right. But when I went to Arkansas and was with William Lunsford, I saw a gazillion lightning bugs, a gazillion of them, you know, but I saw a red orb that just stuck out like a sore thumb.
Wow.
You know, I did see that, and everybody with me saw it. So it, you know, there was that. Plus there was activity that was happening around us. You could hear something walking, you could hear something talking. I mean, you had all of this stuff there. And it just seems like when the activity would die down, the bugs would go away. And then as soon as the activity got ramping up again, well, here comes all the bugs. It was almost like they were pushing them to us when they were coming
the bugs
in.
didn't want to be around them.
Exactly. But yet we had that red orb activity, which doesn't make any sense to where we were at. No. So I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, could it have been something I drug along? Sure. Chris drug along? Sure. Could have been anything anybody could have drug along. But it's funny how it started showing itself when all the activity was ramping up.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Right.
I mean, you guys are going to have to enlighten me on this because I'm not getting it. Because normally everybody says, oh yeah, when, you know, these things, these creatures are around and blah, 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 everything gets quiet. You don't hear you hear nothing.
Yeah, it's like dead the way I understand it.
Yeah.
Well, as you guys may have noticed, I did come in a little bit late today, right?
Oh wait, is that time already?
Because I was cooking something up, and you know, Brandy, you asked for some enlightenment, so
I'll
offer it to you.
Then time out. Here we go.
You know, Donnie Cho, meme of the week.
It is time to end once and for all the debate of Bigfoot and or Dogman being physical or supernatural.
Okay.
I've prepared a little something for you guys, and this is why I was late, because I was like busy in the lab cooking this up.
All right,
but
everybody
it's going to answer once and
ready.
for all.
Everybody get
once
your
and
hula
for
skirts
all,
ready.
guys at home, you're going to want to pay attention to this. I'm going to answer the question: is Bigfoot physical or supernatural? You ready?
I'm ready, as I'll ever be.
Before I press play, this may be my finest achievement ever.
Oh Lord, I'm gonna hold my breath.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we're ready.
People at home, you're in for a treat. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Donnie, Randy, and Randy here tonight. They're feeling a bit cold. Who turned out the lights? Something in the woods very sexy they spied. They are in for a magical carpet ride. Bigfoot getting physical, or is he supernatural? Steamy evening, all mystical, but is this sexy feeling actual? Tex got Bigfoot feeling all moist and ready. Rob and Bigfoot going out for spaghetti. Randy will be in for a furry surprise. Jason sees himself in those suggestive eyes. Bigfoot getting physical, or is he supernatural? Steamy evening, all mystical, but is this sexy feeling actual? Bigfoot physical or supernatural? Either way, he's a sexy beast after all. Have you arrived for a sexy time, sir? Sit back and relax, take it all that fur. Bigfoot physical or supernatural, either way he's a sexy beast after all. Have you arrived for a sexy time, sir? Sit back and relax, take in all that fur.
I was in immediate disco mode as soon as that started. I was like, "Oh yeah, here we go."
So, what'd you guys think?
I think that is. I think it's great. I think it's great, and I think Rob will enjoy it with his spaghetti dinner.
Maybe he gets a little touchy about it sharing his spaghetti though.
By the way, a quick little segue to a plug. That picture of Brandy and Krista that I used for the AI was generated from their documentary appearance on Sasquatch Theory. I took a screenshot and I told them to make these two hugging Bigfoot. That's where that picture came from.
Oh, okay.
That's why you were wearing that Texas hat. You noticed the clothes.
Yeah, I was wearing my Texas hat.
Yeah.
I was like, why do I look so weird?
Yeah, you were looking pretty disheveled in there, but to be fair, it was from that.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
why.
Oh, yeah. Well, anytime that you're spending time in any haunted building for days and outside for days, that kind of happens.
Oh, Larry,
thanks for being a member.
Yeah, a month.
Woo!
You're one of us. One of us.
You're one of us.
So that song was meant to answer the question, is Bigfoot physical or supernatural? And the answer to that question is, he's whatever you wanted to be, baby.
Yeah,
well, it seemed to be very physical from what I could see. Very physical, and maybe not the physical we're discussing.
No. Now, but there have been a couple of comments kind of physical. You made Amy mad because Amy come from her dishes. You saw that, right? She came from her dishes. She said, "No fair." She was doing her dishes, dadgummit, and she had to stop and
just
come
rewind
watch
it. It's going to be right there. I think I'm going to release that video on my channel.
That
just
needs to be out there as a short or something. It needs to be out
hey,
there.
If the Patrick Swayze one gets its own video, I think that one deserves
that
it.
one does too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And
we also had somebody. We also had somebody that reminds you of Elmira from Tiny Toons too. T2E or Tito, whatever you want to call yourself. I know you want one, and you will hug him and squeeze him and call him George.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will hug him and squeeze him and call him George. Yep. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that is kind of funny, though. Yeah, I would definitely send it. I would put it on shorts. That's the way everybody in the world can enjoy that.
Well, you got to redo the format and make it a square, unfortunately. So maybe video just be easier. Just upload it as a video because I've still got the song in my head. I'm still dancing. I'm chair dancing right here. So
yeah, Randy was grooving to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he started off. I think he's in a dancing mood because it was actually doing the drum beat on the the opening song for our show when we came in. I mean, he's all into it tonight.
By the way, Brandy, I am working on a theme song for you and Krista for this channel.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
It is coming.
All right.
I did one for Texas Only Fair. I do one for you as well.
That's true. That's true. We need one.
Yeah.
I got to put that AI to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're gonna have to because we nickname ourselves Ghosts and Grays for a reason. So there is that. There is that. Oh. I don't know. Well, let's get back on track because that's pretty funny, and I got to get off of thinking about that because that has been imprinted into my brain.
So much imagery there. So much imagery. Yeah.
And it's gonna be it's gonna be stuck there, and I'll probably be seeing it in the morning or something. Bigfoot's physical. Got it. But I have to say this. But in the pictures that was showing like Dogman standing off, and that
looking
Bigfoot
jealous.
was like all like he was super jealous, like he was mad about Bigfoot getting all the women, and he just had nothing.
Exactly. Do you blame him?
I mean, maybe if he wasn't so grumpy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. He's got to work on his attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a bad attitude. He's got a real bad attitude. He needs to lighten up a little bit.
Just make him go watch Sliders. He'll be all right.
Right. Right. But, going back into the point of Bigfoot being part of the Fae versus part of the cryptid family, what do you think about that?
I think it's feasible real quick, because I mean, we're talking about I know what he was talking about. Fae, was kind of like the vampire where people just kind of loop stuff in. I never thought about it like that. I thought of Fae as main like wood elves and the people, the forest folk type thing, So that would make Bigfoot would fit in more with that, and they all have their own little mysticism about them and their own little magic per se, if you will. So why not? Well, he's just a big Fae.
Well, some people call Bigfoot forest people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never thought of forest people being Bigfoot. I always thought that they were a different type of entity.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
Wood nymphs, elves, wood elves, whatever, that kind of garden gnomes. Oh, good Lord, don't mess with the gnomes.
Don't forget about them brownies, them little nasty brownies.
Dang right.
The trolls. They're all there. They're all there. And even though most of them have a bad attitude, they do have a magical type background.
It makes more sense to me. If you're going to talk about him being supernatural, honestly, I think that would be where I would loop him in too.
Yeah. And I'm not sure we shouldn't. I mean, because yes, I know everybody, the Bigfoot camp, there's the ape camp, and then there's the non-ape camp. I get it.
I'm still on the ape camp. I'm just saying, if this was the case, this is where I would do it. Yeah.
And if I had to go by what my experience was, I'd have to be in the ape camp.
Yeah.
But I'm not. And that's why, because remember, we were talking about all the stories. All these people can't be wrong.
Yeah. There's got to be a kernel of truth there somewhere.
Yeah, there's something happening. So that would take them completely out of the ape camp into a different place. You know what I mean? It would definitely do that. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know here.
Yeah.
Because they have to have some type of abilities to, I've seen so much equipment, when people are out in the field just go nuts, or, this type of thing, or everything's always blurry. You never get a really good picture of anything out there, especially when you're trying to take a picture of them. Yeah. Why is that? It's not like you're sitting out there shaking, when it's on a tripod.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. Donnie, help me out here, because I'm not sure of where to take this. I mean, because the werewolf thing, it doesn't fall in line with the Dogman theory.
No.
The werewolf, changing back and forth between a human and a creature, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I think that Dogman doesn't change back and forth, that it's that all the time.
Yeah.
I believe it's its own entity.
I can see that.
But here's the thing: are we really around it like 24/7, where we know what it does in its off time? Maybe it does change back. Maybe at the end of the day, it is a werewolf.
Well, I mean, compared to what we know of science, that it would be almost physically, unless we're talking supernatural.
Right.
Because if we're talking it being physical, a physical being, then there's no way scientifically that it could manipulate its body to change.
Well, I mean, that form is pretty much impossible scientifically anyway, Correct.
So, that's why I believe more of in the, because we always heard of the werewolf or the wolf man. That's what we heard of our whole entire lives.
Right.
And the wolf man, I can almost see.
Yeah.
Because they're not physically changing to the degree that a werewolf would. They have slight changes in their physical anatomy, but mostly it's the hair and the teeth, and just a little bit of physical change in their face.
I'll share this with you personally. Now, I'm not saying that this is how other people should think, but personally, I think it's more plausible that dogmen are actually werewolves, changing back and forth to people. Like during the daytime, they just turn back into a man. I think that's way more plausible than like the government funding a research science project to create, bipedal wolves for whatever purpose. It just doesn't seem like, why would they put so much? That would be a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And it would seem like why would you, what would be the point of that when you could take all that time and all those resources into something a little bit more applicable?
Well, it's just kind of like bringing the dire wolf back.
Yeah.
Understandably, they used a gray wolf in the DNA, and I get that point, but what is the point?
Yeah. Why?
I mean, to say that they can? Sure.
Yeah, that's different, though. That's doable, right? You're just pretty much just you're basically making genetically modified wolves to have
that's all you're doing.
wolf DNA. But for the government to say, okay, let's make a bipedal canid creature, you'd have to build that thing from the ground up, you'd have to, like I mentioned earlier, you would have to redo its entire skeletal structure.
Yeah. All its muscular attachments,
everything.
all the tendons, the knees, the feet, all of it would have to be. It's just not feasible in any way, shape, or form. Really,
and for what reason, right? Like, okay, so for military purposes, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense if the government took that time and resources into making like a super soldier, like a Captain America style, where it's like a cocktail of whatever drugs or performance enhancing drugs to inject into a human?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
I mean, between that or the Universal Soldier that, with Van Damme, same thing.
Yeah.
You got dead soldiers that reanimated or incubated until they, they have the heightened awareness, the heightened strength, the heightened reaction times. They're genetically modified to be better, not necessarily through a serum or nothing. They're literally genetically modified to be better humans or better soldiers.
But what if they were trying to create a soldier thing that where they wouldn't have to lose human life, but they would still be able to have hand-to-hand combat?
Well, I don't think that they would do it in per se that. Here's the problem with that theory of them doing. Mm-hmm. They have no control over them.
Right.
You're talking about essentially you're creating this dogman, which will still be a wild creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nobody's going to have control over that thing. You're getting that kind of strength and that kind of ability. It's like taking that's why we don't use biological weapons, because you could release a biological weapon with a vector, i.e. through spray, bomblets, using mosquitoes to spread stuff. That. Guess what you can't do? Once you let it loose, you can no longer control it. You cannot direct it. You cannot do anything. You're at the mercy of nature, whichever way that thing goes. That's why the U.S. did away with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I did see something here. Now, Little Patty said earlier, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier that we thought maybe a more magical, dark magic type thing. Versus
that would be supernatural, though, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that fall?
I would think supernatural with the magical side of it. So, and then Keith, he said something about the werewolf loosely associated with Norse berserkers. I don't know. I never heard anything about the Norse berserkers actually having anything like that, but the berserkers were what you're talking about creating with the dogmen. That's what the berserkers were known to be, just straight out killing machines.
True, very true.
So,
plus, okay, here's a possibility that very few people ever consider. What if Bigfoot is kind of like a werewolf in that it changes back and forth to a person? No one ever talks about that possibility, but that would explain a lot, actually. The fact that we're not able to find him so easily.
Exactly.
Or
Makes
possibly change into other animals. You know, I mean, it's
yeah.
so more of a shapeshifter.
And some people have even suggested, what if Bigfoot and Dogman are actually the same thing, but it turns into one or the other depending on its mood?
Yeah. Or it depends on how you're perceiving it per se.
Yeah. Like, what if a Dogman is just a Bigfoot in a really bad mood?
Yeah. And he's able to project that feeling at you.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, but because I don't believe that all Bigfoot look the same.
Right.
I believe that some of them, they have the same general qualities, but I mean, facial features, you know, because they always talk about different ones having maybe a longer snout to them versus an ape-like face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could we be misidentifying them anyway?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a lot of cases, I don't know. Or, you know, like the whole Dogman thing. I mean, could it be just like what we would call evolution? Instead of them changing back and forth and whatever, like we've heard about through folklore, that maybe they just stayed the same. They just turned into the dog part and just stayed that way.
Yeah.
And that they, you know, it just went through generations like that. And now that's what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who think Dogman is just a straight up demonic entity.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at that one too, and the one above it with Wind Clan Can, it said saying, you know, their perspective, the Native American perspective, they or at least some do shapeshift, and that's been part of folklore to Native Americans for forever that I know of. So, now Bristol had another one too about we were talking about possibly the government doing the experiments to create this thing. And, you know, I didn't know about this story either. You know, the lone surviving diver that explored the flooded levels of whatever that rat house is right there, because I don't even remember the name of that one, but supposedly claimed he saw animal headed people chained to chairs in labs in that place. So
I never heard of that. What is that place?
It's hang on, let me find it again.
Cell News Rat House. Yeah,
I'll have to look that up myself because, like I said, I don't know. I imagine it's a rat house is German. I know that, but I don't know about the cell in Nuez. So if it's German, it's Chile not now. Nowis is how it be pronounced. So been a long time since I've been in Germany.
Maybe we have a German a viewer out there that can tell us what that is.
Bristol, send me that link. I'll get it and we'll take a look at it. Send me that link. So Bristol, send me the link and we can look at it and probably come up on another show with it or something. I don't know.
Exactly, because we can definitely take a deep dive into something with that. Because I would love to know more about that. Because I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. Are these, you know,
we don't know this
made in a lab?
Yeah. If we could find something like that, and I wish the way he's talking about that, if the person that dove it, I wish he would take pictures. If he would have taken the pictures, I imagine they've already been confiscated by the governments, but still, just to even know that somebody was able to take pictures of it, you know?
Yeah. Because, you know, if something happened like that with me, guess what, everybody? You're going to get a picture and you're going to pick a picture. Everybody's going to get a picture before they find me. Exactly. And then you better take that off of whatever you've got and go hide it somewhere. Because I'm going to send it to everybody I know. Every contact I have is going to get a picture.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to take the chance on, I'm going to hide this. No, I'm going to send it to everybody I know. And then I'm going to probably destroy my phone, my camera, whatever it's on. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, you're not catching me with it and you're not going to figure out where it went to. And if you do, somebody be smart enough to put it on a jump drive, something else, get it off your computer, get it off your phone, put it up somewhere.
Yeah. Where nobody can get to it and nobody can get it from you. copies done, everything you can get done to
Right, because
duplicate
we
it.
can spread this, if we can take that and spread it as far as we can stretch, there's no possible way that they could get every physical copy back.
Right.
Yep. Gary's right.
So,
Nazis did do all sorts of experiments, but all those experiments that I know of all failed. So
right?
anyway, so yeah, I'm still, and you can take it for a grain of salt with it, whatever. I'm still on the ape side. I still think it's physical. Until I see something that would make me really think that it can do the portal passing and stuff like that. I mean, I know people said something about cloaking and stuff. I still believe that the cloaking ability is more of a natural camouflage versus cloak. So
Yeah, that's what I said. I think they're wearing a natural ghillie suit.
yeah, but I think T2E or whatever out there, I think she had said that she was chased on her ranch by a cloaked Bigfoot. So I'm like, okay, that's something I would have to actually look into, because that's something on a whole different level to me.
Like Predator style?
Yeah. I mean,
sounds like it.
We talked about it on Blondes and Boos, but I was stepping out away from the group and I was nearing the tree line. And as I was stepping near the tree line, well, all the noises started to get louder. But yet there was that one point that everything became a blur.
Yeah.
It's not like it cloaked or did anything or whatever, but it just became a blur, a straight up blur. Now, whatever caused that blur gave me a feeling of, hey, I need to step back.
Yeah. I need to get away from that thing.
Right yeah, now. I need to step back from it. Because I don't know if you would call that cloaking. I don't know. But it was definitely a blur, and we talked about it on the show and everything. It was just very weird how that I was looking and everything was perfectly clear, and the closer I stepped, the blurrier it got. So is that some way of them stopping you from seeing them? Could this be our problem with taking pictures? Yeah. Could this be, that they have some type of ability to, I don't know. And that all brings me back to sound. That whole thing was sound and vibration. So, because if you ever take, like, oh my gosh, my son had one of those little back massagers, looks like a bug with the little 4 feet. Well, he put it on my head one day. And
I got one in the room over there.
Right. Put it on my head, and then my eyes, everything just went blurry. Yeah.
The vibration caused you to almost, and your eyes watered up a little bit and stuff.
Absolutely. It absolutely did. It did not hurt.
But
it didn't hurt or anything, but it just made everything go blurry. And I'm wondering if this is what the type of thing that we're dealing with. That it isn't a supernatural thing, and that maybe it is strictly a vibration and sound thing.
And like Werewolf says there, it's all due to frequencies. It's whatever frequency is needed. And somehow through infrasound, through electromagnetic or whatever interference it can create, it's figured out. Then this is me talking on the woo side of it now a little bit more. It's figured out a way to cross that membrane between the worlds or between the realities. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, it doesn't take too much, and I'm going to tell you how. Because when I use singing bowls, I have different frequencies, and I know the ones that work best where I get the most activities, and I know the ones that will make a dog howl from 2 miles away. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's just working with it and figure out what works. And once you figure out what works, you can just use that.
Yeah. Now, Edward just put something out. I just read this bit that Edward stuck out there. That is very enlightening because I did not know any of this.
Let me read it out loud for people listening on audio only. Irish, the Fowlod, generally good. Scottish, Wolver, neutral unless harassed, looks like human body with wolf head. Fear Derg, Irish werewolf / cursed red man stuck in fringe of the Fey world.
And that's when it got me, the Fey world.
Yeah.
So once again,
Amanda
we're sitting here,
asks, what if Bigfoot just has the power to make you think he's not there?
and that could be true too.
You see, that's what I'm saying, Amanda. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because if it had the sound to make my vision blur, so I couldn't see it, but it was right there.
Yeah.
I mean, could it have that capability? Absolutely. But that still makes it physical. It's not going to make that supernatural. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, this is why this whole topic, has me a little bit broken for loops type thing, because I am dead firmly set into the scientific realm. Okay. When we start talking about, Fae and stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't dismiss anybody's beliefs or whatever they experience or whatever. But for me, I'm sitting there looking at it like, I don't know. I don't think I can believe this. I don't think I can believe that, because it doesn't make sense in the physical world.
Right.
But once again, we're stuck in the physical world, and we don't know what's outside of the physical world. You know what I mean?
By the way,
we're constrained by that
Joe
the
Two
three
Pops.
dimensions.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
And then Gary
Yeah,
Spike
because I'm really confused about it, because I'm not in the aper camp. I don't necessarily believe that these things are apes that just have evolved into what they are today. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think they are their own entity, but what type and where do they come from and where do they fall? I'm not set on them being just physical or supernatural. I'm kind of at a toss up in between with those, because I'm not sure how all these people could be wrong. I mean, I keep going back to that, and I understand that, but they cannot be wrong.
No. It's got to have. There's got to be a kernel somewhere in it of truth. I mean, just like with every legend and every bit of folklore out there, there's always a slight bit that's based in truth, and it's just hard for me to go to that realm when I know it's not, quote unquote, physically capable in the physical world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in our physical world. So that would mean
which means
that would go back to the veil thing.
Yes, exactly.
And the portals again,
in string theory, you're talking about vibrations. Certain vibrations will allow you to pass through. We don't know what those vibrations are. Maybe they know. And that's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. This one is really easy to talk about, but I can never come to any conclusion. I can never say either or. I never know. Now, the Dogman, I never want to meet one, period. And my personal opinion is that I do think those things are evil, period.
Yeah. And if y'all get a chance, go back and check some of the comments out there that Edward and Ristel were going back and forth on the Irish side of it. And there's a couple of good comments out there. So whenever you get a chance, go back and check it later, because it's eye opening to me on some of it, because some of the folklore I never even heard of before, and that's like, why isn't this ever talked about? So
right. I mean, I would definitely like to see a Dogman one day, but from a distance.
A long distance,
yeah, because I do not know
with weapon in hand
what I'm dealing with. I mean, it's kind of like seeing a Wendigo. Would I like to see one? Yeah. Do I want to see one up close? No, absolutely not.
Nope.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah, nope.
I don't want to see any of that stuff, because I don't know. It's so hard to determine, because Dogman was kind of the waters have gotten muddy with Dogman.
Right.
Because I mean they're talking about there's all these different types and this and that and the other, and it's kind of like I'm losing, I guess, my understanding of where they're all coming from.
Yeah.
You know, when we haven't even figured out where they came from in the first place.
Yeah. And like I said, the Dogman, what do you want to call it? The Dogman obsession that's going on now is relatively new. Like we talked about before, as far as on the cryptid world, this is relatively new to a lot of it. And then people are, I hate to say it like this because it's what it feels like. A lot of people are jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like. So, I mean, I've never even saw anything.
Bigfoot or Dogman will do something inexplicable, and then therefore people will conclude, it's got to be supernatural.
Exactly.
It's got to be Fae, right? By the way, I uploaded a picture of Bigfoot as Fae. You ready? I just made it real quick just now.
Oh, okay.
Bam.
Oh, I like it.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Look at Dogman on the side looking all jealous. It's like, man, I wish I had a magic wand.
We got to make up a name for her.
Yeah. We're going to call that one.
I mean, if we had, t-shirt.
I mean, honestly, if we had something that straightforward, we wouldn't even have to have these conversations, period.
No. Yeah. Nope.
It'd be like, there it is, the Fae.
Yeah. We're going to call it Broomhilda.
Well, my theory is that Bigfoots are actually homeless aliens. You heard that theory before.
Yeah.
I have heard that theory.
Listen to that theory too. Yeah. In fact, they talked about that on one of the episodes of Expedition Bigfoot. They talked to a couple of local Native American tribes up there, and somebody said that they were just passing through here in some states, some leave, they do this, and they travel through portals. That was what was told to them, and I'm like, okay, this is different.
Yeah. Well, Gary Spike said, if all Dogmen were evil, we would all be dead.
Yeah, well,
where would the fun be in that?
I don't know if I buy that.
Well, they better come with a lot more than just themselves, because I got a few things that say that they ain't gonna get within 50 yards of me.
Right. I got everything from a bullet to holy water.
Right.
I got the whole gamut. So we'll try anything we can. But it's just kind of like, it would kind of like be saying that if everything was a demon, we'd all be in hell. No, not really.
A slippery slope.
Yeah.
That is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I think Dogmen are just not generally nice cryptids. I think they fit right in there with the Gugway. And I'm gonna group all Dogmen together because, like I said, I have not heard of one. Well, I heard one that their encounter was okay, but every other one was terrifying to everybody else.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and as crazy as people we are, you know, and in our chat and watching and all, as crazy people as we are, there would be somebody else that would have an okay encounter with the, you know, with one of these creatures. And I don't know.
I've heard a couple stories, not many, but a couple stories where there was like a non-aggressive or non-evil Dogman. I heard one actually from I think it was from LBL, where it was like a Dogman that had been like domesticated, like it had grown up with someone had raised it in its barn.
Yeah.
So it had like the mentality of like a domesticated dog, which I think it's actually sounds kind of cool. It'd be a good premise for like a story. Like a Dogman that lives at your house and he runs to the door whenever you come home and he's all happy.
Donnie, do you think you could domesticate a Dogman? Do you really?
If you raise it from a puppy.
We're all quiet. Everybody just went silent. We're like, no.
I was stifling the burst out of laughter when he said that.
If you raise it from puppy boy to Dogman, I think
no, I don't think so. I just don't. It's just kind of like taking a bear and raising it. Well, it'll be nice to you, but it still can kill you and probably will.
Yeah.
Because it will still have those tendencies.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard the same thing. Some people talk about all the dogmen and stuff in their areas and stuff, and that they were just kind of like living side by side type thing. You know, they didn't. You left them alone, they leave you alone.
That I've heard a lot of.
Yeah, they just kind of, as long as you don't mess with them, they'll leave you alone type thing.
Yeah, well, puppy boy. Especially in the LBL. You know, every time that I've been over there, which was quite a bit, you know, that I hear that they're working together. I don't think they're working together. I think that they're kind of tolerating and coexisting. Yeah. But they kind of just work around each other in the area.
Exactly. Because you got that healthy respect for each other.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, they understand that, you know, both of them getting into a fight or something out there is not going to lead to anything good. Somebody's going to go down, and they're probably both going to go down because it's going to be a very vicious type of encounter.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not worth it. I mean, they'll defend themselves if they have to, but they're not out there trying to start anything. I just don't think that would be a wise move. And I think they're both smart enough to know that.
So I just had AI make for me a baby dog man, like what it would look like. Cause I'm, a puppy boy, right? Because baby dog man is puppy boy. You ready? It's pretty cute. Ready? Oh, look at that.
That doesn't resemble a dog man.
Looks like a puppy.
Looks like a puppy.
Yeah, puppy boy.
Puppy boy. That's the kind of dog man that Donnie will have right there.
That's it.
That's the one he'll have. Everyone.
It's adorable, guys.
And I bet you that one will be safe to pick up and cuddle.
Yeah. Anywho.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just trying to watch the daggum all the
Crystal's like, I want to hug puppy boy. Everyone wants to hug puppy boy. That's why dogmen are so mean. They're very protective of their children.
Well, Pancho said it was a girl anyway, so it's puppy girl.
Okay, we'll go with that.
There you go.
There you go.
With that being said, don't forget to watch Blondes and Boos tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. We have Barb Hartman on tomorrow. I don't know who's going to co-host with me, but I'm going to wrangle one of these guys to help me out tomorrow.
Wait, Chris ain't back tomorrow?
No.
Oh.
No crap.
Oh, really? Oh, we'll have to discuss that. Real quick, I set the song that I made as the outro, just FYI.
Oh,
okay.
Awesome. Let me finish up, and everybody, you're going to get that song just one more time.
Some people are mad that they missed it.
Yeah. Don't forget to watch us with Barb Hartman tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, and Friday night 7 p.m. It's probably going to be called the Free for All here on Blondes and Boos channel. We have no idea, so we're going to figure that out too. Don't forget, Donnie Cho comes on at 8:30 p.m. Saturday evening with Donnie Cho Says Stuff
Central.
At
8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 Central. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said 8:30. Which is true for you. Which is true.
It is true for me. And I'm so sorry about that because I'm usually pretty good about that. 8:30 p.m. Central for Donnie Cho Says Stuff on Saturday night. We got Rob BMR, who is into the bazaar that Saturday evening at 10 o'clock. And then don't forget, Randy and I come on Sundays at 5 p.m. Central with Truth or Tinfoil. That's when we just go in and we tear all these pictures and these videos and audio. We just tear them apart and take a deep dive and take a look at this stuff to see what we think, if it's real or if it's fake, or should we put on our tinfoil hat to protect ourselves? We're not sure.
Provided there's no Sunday holidays again.
Right.
I know. Stop the holidays on Sundays. They should all fall during the work week. I'm just saying.
They should all be Mondays. They should all fall out on Monday.
Yeah, or a Friday. Yeah. I'll take a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, they just have to all holidays need to fall on a weekday. But with that being said, we'll see everybody tomorrow night. We'll see everybody tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central, here on Blondes and Boos channel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Donnie, Randy, and Randy here tonight. They're feeling a bit cold. Who turned out the lights? Something in the woods very sexy they spied. They are in for a magical carpet ride. Bigfoot getting physical, physical, or is he supernatural, supernatural? Steamy evening, all mystical, mystical, but is this sexy feeling actual, actual? Tex got Bigfoot feeling all moist and ready. Rob and Bigfoot going out for spaghetti. Randy will be in for a furry surprise. Jason sees himself in those suggestive eyes. Bigfoot getting physical, physical, or is he supernatural, supernatural? Steamy evening, all mystical, mystical, but is this sexy feeling actual, actual? Physical or supernatural, either way he's a sexy beast after all. Have you arrived for a sexy time, sir? Sit back and relax, take it all that fur. Bigfoot physical or supernatural, either way he's a sexy beast after all. Have you arrived for a sexy type, sir? Sit back and relax, take in all that fur.